Hey guys, I'm Victoria Humphreys. I am the host of Brand Stories. I am so excited to start. I have Gene Ho sitting here with me. He is super awesome. He is absolutely the best photographer I've ever seen. Um, you do so many things. When I was looking at your website, you do weddings,
Yes.
you do families, you do celebrities, you did the president.
Yes.
So that's pretty freaking cool.
It's pretty cool.
So you're a big baller now. Okay. So where did you start?
You know what? Craziest story. I started out working at Burger King. I mean, I'm not anything. Like where I am now is like I feel it's so surreal. It's not anything like what people would expect. But I came down here right out of high school, and so I've been a photographer here for 30 years, and all this stuff going on, the president, the book deal, everything. I don't know. I just got thrown into it. It's like nothing I ever expected.
Yeah. So when did you pick up your first camera?
I was down here and never even thought about being a photographer, but picked up one camera and just started playing around with it, and it's like, this is what I need to do, you know.
Really?
And so I started doing it.
And you just knew.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. Everyone thinks that everything was like so magical the way it happened. It wasn't. My career is based upon failure. I mean, it's all about being a success in business or being a success as a photographer is being not afraid to fail. And it's like a career made of failures. And it's just my adjustments over the course of 30 years that has got me where I am.
So what are some of those failures that...
I will never forget it. Early on, and I learned everything with photography based upon this. One of my first jobs, and I'm not afraid to talk about it, but I did like a Christmas party for Blue Cross. It was a big company party. And this was even before the days of you know, internet and cell phones and everything. And I would never forget it because I did the big job. Wasn't afraid to fail, but sure enough, I failed. And back then they did probably the most, was probably mean. I would say it's mean, but they picked up the phone and then the first person called and says, hey, I didn't like my pictures. I was like, okay, fine, I'll give you a refund. They hung up, and then they must have all been in a room. And then the next person would pick up the phone. There's no cell phones back then. Pick up the phone and said, hey, I don't like my photos. Hang up. And it was just like one right after another. And it was like the biggest humiliation because I did the job and it wasn't really fair. Some of them weren't really the best pictures in the world, but some of them weren't bad. But they did something that was really mean, which was just basically one right after another called me up and said, hey, we don't like this picture.
Yeah.
But I learned a valuable lesson to it because if you can fail in that way, then you could also succeed in that way. If you could fail in the way where people will go around and talk about how bad you are and, you know, orchestrate it that way, you could also succeed in the same way. If you do good, then many people are going to be talking about you, and it just goes on from there.
Okay, so what's one of your bigger successes then?
You know what, and it goes along with that because I was doing a lot of celebrity weddings before the opportunity with President Trump came about. But one of the things that that people have trusted me with, I've done a lot of pro athletes' weddings, and one of the things that people always say to me, they say, "Oh, wow, you're doing this guy's weddings." Like, these are the athletes where their actual what they make is actually published. I mean, these are millionaires, and so everyone always says, "Okay, wow, you did this person's wedding. I bet you you really stuck it to them. You got paid a lot of money." And I said, "No, these are professional athletes, but they're still people." So when I did their weddings, I didn't pretend to like, okay, I'm going to upcharge them with this. I actually did the opposite. I made sure I cut corners for them to save money, even though they're all multimillionaires that you could look up in ESPN how much they're making. So from there, people started to trust me in what I'd done.
So you have your own business.
Yes, and I mean, all it is just a matter of when it comes to photography and business. It's making sure that you get your message out there and that people trust you. And once people trust you to do something, they trust your voice and they trust you when you say something's good or bad. And we talked about this before where like, your friends will tell you really what's going on for good or bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been like that, and I made a career out of it.
That is awesome. Wow. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. So how long has your business been open?
Oh man, can you believe it? This year, let's see, this year's year 29, so next year it'll be year 30.
Wow.
So yeah, see, I got some age on me.
I was gonna say you don't look like you've had a business for 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years.
That nice luscious hair you got going on over there.
I mean, Who knew?
That's awesome. How, for people who are in the photography business and starting up, what advice would you give them?
You know what? I always tell photographers that are starting out, you don't want to be me. You want to be greater than me. You don't want to be. I mean, if you always sit there and look at what I do and copy everything I do, you'll never be better than me. You're just going to be a carbon copy of what I am. And so when I started out, I never, like, for instance, when I started with taking pictures with Trump, I've never done a major campaign in my whole life. But they liked me because I took pictures in a way that didn't look like anything else that anyone has ever done. I use a different type of lens. I use a lens that I did use for weddings, a fisheye lens. And so any advice for any photographer that is up and coming is you don't want to be me, you don't want to copy me, you want to do your own thing of what it is.
Okay, that's good. So back to this Trump thing.
Yes.
Where did that come from? How did you get into that?
You know what? That's great.
I need this story.
Okay. You would not. Okay, I saw Trump. I was doing a convention with all of them. Trump, Ben Carson, everyone. But I saw Trump. I was like, wow, this guy's great. You know, and I met him, and I took pictures of everyone there, and I actually sent him, just him, pictures of what I took. Didn't think anything of it, and then like 3 weeks later, I get a letter and it says, handwritten by Trump, says, Gene, great pictures, love them. And then I was like, wow, you know, and I couldn't believe that I actually got a letter back from him. But then he hired me for one event, and I did the one event. But here's the thing, and it's I tell people all the time about this. You never be afraid to feel stupid, because what ended up happening is I did the first event for him, and then 2 days later he had another event, but it was like 4 or 5 hours away, and I didn't get invited to do the second job. But I just woke up at 4 a.m., put on a suit, got my camera, drove all the way down there, and just showed up. And I was like so scared, because I was like, oh, like, right, because I'm showing up for work. I wasn't even invited for work.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went there, and then the campaign manager at the time looks at me and goes, you, come here. I'm like, oh, geez, he's going to kick me out. He says, hey, we don't need you at this event, but go down the road, and then there's going to be another event. Start working there, and then we'll meet you down there. And so, like, I kind of like invited myself into this own job, and then I was there for all 2 years. And then after that, then the book came out with Trumpography, and it's been crazy after that.
So tell me a little bit about the book.
This is just basically a book that I wrote of stories about Trump. It has some pictures in it, but it's all about the stories of behind the scenes about what the president is really like. And you know, I tell people all the time that I don't need to lie for good or bad. For example, I didn't need to lie and make a wonderful stories about the president, or I didn't need to tell lies about bad stories about him, which probably would have been much more lucrative to sit there and do a tell-all about bad things. But it wasn't like that. There are stories about Trump, what he was like in the basically what he was like on the campaign trail. And the book's doing great, so it's good.
Awesome. So I was watching one of your interviews one day, and I stopped it because the question was, what was one of like your most memorable times with Trump? Like, what happened? And I wanted to hear your answer firsthand.
Okay. See, this is what I did. All right. This is what I did with Trump. It sounds all glamorous and everything, but it was really like this. Like, you're Trump, and there's another person. I said, okay, yeah. I go, next person, look right here, click. Okay, thank you very much. Leave. Next person, click. It sounds great because it was really fun, because I did some of his Twitter pictures, all this stuff that for his advertisements, but that was my primary job. It's called a meet and greet. So the pressure's on, right? It's like, oh, like, because you got to do these things really, really fast.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, and it had lights set up just like we have here. I'm taking pictures. Everyone's yelling at me because I got to go faster. It's constantly, you got to do it faster, faster, faster. Somebody trips over my lights, and I never almost cursed in front of the future president, but I was looking back and say, who in the, looking to curse out, I look back, it's Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani tripped over my lights. And it was just like, oh, okay, Mr. Giuliani, that's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, we actually liked that. So it was funny, and it was a great experience.
You photographed him too, right?
Yeah, Rudy Giuliani. Like, It's just like that. It's just like in anything else. Once you get involved with it, then people trust you and they know that
Yeah.
you could. So it's wonderful. It's happened with all this. And truth be told, like it's so surreal what's going on now that it's, you know, I would never imagine it. I mean, I work for Burger King. I can still make.
I work for Burger King.
I can still
time.
I can still make a good burger.
There you go. So advice to all y'all out there: even if you start at Burger King, you can go anywhere. It's okay.
Who knew?
Look at him now. Look at him now.
Burger King.
So what's your day-to-day life like now?
It's better now because
Better now.
when I was with the Trump campaign, I was traveling a lot, and then I was coming back, and when I was traveling a lot, I came back and I had to still do my work, like my weddings and the weekends and stuff.
Okay.
I still do a lot of photography, but being on the book tour is different because I get, when possible, I get to take my children with me to the event and my family. So it's kind of nice. Yesterday I just got back from DC. Tomorrow morning I'll head back to DC, come back to Myrtle Beach. We'll do an event here, and then after that event, then I'll go to travel in Nashville to do an interview there. So it's a lot of travel, but it's so much different because I get to take my children with me. Whereas before, I mean, I spent 2 years on the campaign, and so we had that, and even before that, I was traveling a lot for my photography. So I'm not saying I'm slowing down. I'm just saying I'm having a lot more fun with it.
Yeah. So how has all of this influenced your family life?
You know what? You know, you talk about all the positive things about it, but you have to remember that not all of it was great and wonderful. It was really tough being when you're away from your family. And then I think I told people before that I watch my son. My son's 8 years old. I was traveling so much that I watched my son's first steps through Skype. And when I saw that, and I was like, you know what? I just got to slow down a little bit. And so part of the thing with the book, which it just forced me to slow down. It took me about a year to write it, to gather everything, put it together. But during that time, it just reminded me, like, you know, this is all great and wonderful, but, you know, you don't want to exchange all this stuff and to create another problem with it. So with all of this now, it's slowed down a lot. I'm still traveling a lot on the road, but when I went to DC, took my children there, did a book signing there, and then afterwards, the next day, we took some time to go to the museums, the Smithsonian, and so it was really fun. It was really good.
They're going to Nashville with you?
Yes, yeah.
I bet they're excited, aren't they?
Yes, it's gonna be good.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 4 altogether. So I have my two stepchildren and then my 2 younger ones. So it's a big family, and so, but yes, we will pack it up and then we'll all go down there to Nashville together. And there's other ones. I'll be doing some interviews in New York, and so, like, with all of that, when possible, I'll take my children there.
Oh, that's so exciting for them too. So they get to see like all behind the scenes.
And the other thing about it, they get to see what I do.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of nice to be able to do that. And it's not always like that because, you know, they still have school to go to and everything else. But it's so much different the way it is now.
Yeah, yeah. So you have a gallery opening up too?
Yes, we are working on a plan to open up a gallery. So it's not just my photography where I'm taking pictures of people, but trying to get into a little bit more of the more creative side of the arts of it. So we'll see. It's in progress and it's doing really well, but that's the next step.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you do weddings, you do family pictures, you do portraits. What do you not do?
You know what? The main thing that I would love to say about photography and everything is that if you just love what you do, everything else will follow.
Yeah.
So I've never, it sounds funny, but like I never took photography and said, okay, I'm going to do this part of the photography, but like this part I'm above it or whatever. I mean, truth be told, I get it. It's the President of the United States, and I photographed him even after he was president. But when you take pictures of the President of the United States, those meet and greet photos is still, according to photographers, the lowest form of photography. Is not very artistic. The person's standing there and you just go next, click, is not what you would call artistic photography.
Yeah.
It's just you're just doing a job there. But I've never differentiated between, well, this is the stuff I do and this is stuff I won't do.
Mhm.
You know, I love photography, and I mean, it sounds crazy, but like every once in a while, my friends will say, "Hey, I need a passport picture." I was like, "Okay, come on in." I'm out. Okay, I work for McDonald's.
So you have no issue doing even the smallest.
I don't care. I mean,
That's awesome,
there's
though.
no issue with
Yeah,
doing
because
that.
you love what you do, and that's what's important.
No, at the end of the day, it's all good.
That is awesome. Well, that is a story to tell, let me tell you.
So if you want a passport picture, I'll definitely.
Okay, thank you. I'll tell you, whenever I get rich one day and I have my rich husband, I'm going to call you up and be like, Gene, I need my wedding pictures done. Because I was looking at them online, which, by the way, geneho.com.
Yeah, GENEHO.com. You can see all my stuff there, and you can. There's a link from there to the book.
Okay.
Which you got to check it out. It's doing really well.
Okay, so tell me about Kelly Pickler.
Oh, you know what? See, here's the thing. She's a wonderful person, but here's the thing. The craziest thing. She falls in the good category. Now there are some.
Okay.
Yeah, there are some people that I will never mention that I photographed that you think are like the coolest people in the world, and Kelly Pickler is.
Okay.
But you think they're the coolest people in the world, and then you meet them like, wow, that guy was the biggest jerk ever. And the crazy thing about it, like she's nice, so I thought she was gonna be nice, and she was, and is like that, and you never know what you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump was another one. Trump, I thought the opposite. I thought he would be the biggest jerk in the world. I mean, I always liked him, but before I met him, I thought this guy's gonna be the biggest jerk. And like, whoa, the guy's like really nice. Who
I got
knew?
a handwritten letter.
It's really crazy. So it's like a lot of these people that I meet. Some are, you know, you never know what you're gonna get. Celebrities are just people anyway. So it's like some are good, some are bad.
So who was your first celebrity?
If I can remember, I believe and it was really big back then, was Vanna White, because she lives in North Myrtle Beach. So she was like, like the first.
Like the first one?
Yeah.
And then it was like word of mouth from there?
Yeah, it's basically, yeah. So that, I mean, and that's, and you would almost imagine that because Vanna White's from North Myrtle Beach. And, you know, I had the studio here for a long time, but originally when I first came down here, I was living in North Myrtle Beach. And it was just chance luck. I didn't know the family. Someone just hired me out for it. And I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world. And she was nice, so.
She was nice?
Yeah, she was nice.
She's on the good list.
Yeah, she's on the good list. I'll share with you the bad list. No.
You know, I was going to say, I'm really curious about that bad list. Okay, so I was looking through your wedding albums.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know if that's nosy. But there was one where you were in Paris.
Yes. Yes, they flew us down there. And here's the thing. I never, when I do my pictures and everything, I have a lot of photographers that work for me. And so most of the time, I'm sending them out. So the person that shot one of those weddings, or a lot of the international ones, were my photographers. We have not done a international wedding in like so long. Like, I'll be honest, I'm afraid my guys. I swear, I'm afraid my guys are gonna get kidnapped out there. I'm like that conspiracy thing.
Like that taken stuff.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It happens.
But we used to. I mean, it was a normal thing. I mean, the studio over the years, Paris, Mexico, and everything, and then Mexico got really dangerous, and so it's crazy. But yeah, we used to. We still travel. I mean, we've done weddings coast to coast. I've done weddings coast to coast, but as far as the international stuff, I mean, there was a time the world just got really like that dangerous. I mean, France got dangerous, and then Mexico got dangerous. Yeah. So I was always afraid of my guys. I'm afraid my guys are gonna get hurt.
Yeah. So how do people work for you? Because you have like a list of photographers on your page.
In the heyday of it, before all of this book stuff, because I'm spending a lot of time working on promoting the book now. But in its heyday, easily 25 photographers. Doing weddings all over the country, but nowadays I'm trying my best to slow down, and I'll still do photography. The stuff, very, put it this way, I'm not retired, but I need to focus in on the book, and I want to focus in a little bit more on the art side of photography, which I'm trying to do with the gallery.
The whole gallery and everything like that. Okay, cool. So who was your first employee?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Oh, that's horrible.
You don't remember?
No.
Gene.
It went.
Shout out to you.
No. It went so fast. This is like I got you one. I got
okay,
you one.
All right.
My studio's older than you. How about that? So if you remember what you were doing when you were 1 year old, it's kind of like that. But it's true.
No, I don't know.
I mean, all of this came as a blink, and it wasn't like I was ever like it wasn't like I ever set out to say, oh, I want to be this and then this. I mean, it just all happened so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're talking too when you talk about business. The first, I forgot what the stat was, where they say like after a while, um, more businesses like close up within 5 years or something like that. I mean, it was like that for me. I never closed up, but there was times when early on starting off, that the studio wasn't doing really well. So I didn't know when I first started if I would still be there the next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
So it was just like, and you never thought about making a history of it, but it just went crazy. It's one right after another, and then like you look back, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, you've definitely made history, I would say now.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's been interesting. It's been good.
So, what is the photography business like?
You know, the thing is with photography, it's everyone. Photography is an interesting business in that everyone else around you guys, around the other photographers, wants to know what every other photographer is doing, and it's unique and it's good. There's a lot of great photographers out there. I think the community is getting closer and tighter because it used to be that there were so many photographers. But one of the things about photography is that if you just do your thing, don't care what any other person's doing, and just mind your own business and do your stuff, it's amazing what happens.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot. I love photography. There's a lot of drama within photography, like what is this person doing, what is that person doing, but I never really got into that. I just did my own thing, and I didn't care if someone did something I thought it was cool, and I never said I wanted to copy that person because that's neat. Because there are a lot of good photographers out there, and they're doing amazing stuff. But it's still an individual sport in the sense that it's what you're doing as a photographer is your vision going into it.
Much like an actor, musician, or something like that. If you copy what someone else is doing, they're gonna. And
going along with that, you think about a lot of the actors that made their mark, challenging themselves. You just think about like Dustin Hoffman playing Rain Man, or these are actors that they don't say, okay, well, I'm only going to play this role, and it has to be this sexy role right here, and it could only be this. But a true actor or actress says, okay, well, challenge me. Let me do that.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always felt it with photography, that I'm just going to do my own thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Tell me about Victory Junction.
Oh, thank you.
I want to hear about
that. Okay. Something dear to my heart. Victory Junction is a camp for children that are chronically ill. And so before my son was born, so this is about 9 years ago, and it was my first child that had born, and I was over 40 at the time, and I was sure, just my mind, that you think about things and you scare yourself to death thinking about things. I was like, well, what? I'm older. I'm an older dad. What would happen if my son was sick? And so it was then I saw the commercial with Darius Rucker, who since then I got a chance to know. But Darius Rucker was promoting Victory Junction, and I said, basically in a promise to God, I said, listen, you know what? If my son comes out healthy, I'm going to support a charity with children. If my son is not healthy, I'm still going to support a charity for children. My son was born without any complications or problems, even though I was nervous. He had like a peanut allergy for a while, but he's okay. But since then, I approached Victory Junction, and they said, hey, we know who you are, so rather than make us a straight donation or whatever, will you do a public service announcement? So I did a public service announcement for them. It went viral all over the country. It was on all the stations and still is. But it's a great camp for children, and I've learned a lot from it. And the best thing that I learned, and it helped me over the years understand this, most of us don't really live. I don't know if you know that, but like we're sitting here, and you're like worried about your taxes, you're worried about work, you're worried about this bill and worried about that bill, and we don't really live. I'll be honest, most of us don't really live. But these children who have serious injuries, serious complications, They go to this camp, and for 2 weeks they live. They are not worried about anything. They get to play with other children that are chronically ill. They have doctors on site. If you want to know how big Victory Junction is probably the land and everything is probably bigger than Myrtle Ways. But it looks like Myrtle Ways. They have their own pool. They have their own. You can ride horses there. These children could go there, and for 2 weeks they could just live. And what I learned from this charity, victoryjunction.org, if you want to support it. You know, a lot of times people say, "Well, pity these children." No, yes, you pity ourselves. We're the ones. We're the ones that need pity. We're not even. Most of us aren't even living. You know, we're so concerned about everything that we're not even living, and these children get to live. So it's our privilege, if you would, to support Victory Junction. It's a wonderful charity.
Yes. I saw on their website, I was looking it up, they have like archery classes.
Yes, it's amazing, and it's
cool.
Richard Petty's charity. So it's like sort of like a NASCAR charity per se, but it's a beautiful charity, and I love talking about it and I love supporting it.
Where is it located?
It is in Randleman, North Carolina. So from Myrtle Beach and North Myrtle Beach is probably, I think it's like 2.5 hours or something, maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
But it's everything counts if a person donates, but every single penny that goes there, they actually, when you donate, they say, okay, well, this will go to invite a camper, if you know, depending on how much it is. But the parents don't have to pay anything, and the children don't have to pay anything. But the best part about Victory Junction is that these children go to these camps. They have doctors there, and it also gives their family a break for a little bit, so that they can stop being a caretaker for 2 weeks. Wonderful charity.
Do they stay the night?
The children do, and the parents don't.
Okay.
So the parents get a little bit of a break in the summer to do what they need to do, and yet the kids are having the time of their lives.
That is so cool. That is amazing. And on your website it says that if you donate to Victory Junction with the weddings and everything, tell me about that.
Yes. Basically what we're trying to do when I do the weddings, what I'm trying to do with them is that with people, they have weddings and they give away gifts for it. What we would like for people to do is donate to Victory Junction to get a little card that just says, in lieu of favors for the wedding, we have made a donation of Victory Junction. You can arrange it through me or Victory Junction, but they'll give you a little logo and everything that they can put on the tables to let everyone know that you support that charity and that you spent the money that you would normally spend on, say, a little giveaway at the wedding to your guests, that you spent it on the children instead.
That is cool. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to hire you?
The best way is on the website.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's like, you know, we used to have phones and everything, but like no one uses the phone anymore. It's crazy. But definitely the website, geneho.com. So GENEHO.com. They can go down there. Please check out the book. You can see there's a page that talks all about it, but you can see all the other pictures about it that I do.
Okay. Do you do social media and stuff too?
Yes. Oh yeah. Thank you very much for the reminder. Facebook, Gene Ho Photo, and from there you can see everything I'm doing. I'm on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter.
Okay, cool. What's your handle?
Gene Ho Photo.
Gene Ho Photo?
With a P, yep, photo.
With a P?
Yeah, because my car has an F.
Your car has an F?
Yeah, my car's license tag has an F. My son always reminds me that I spelled photo wrong on my car.
It's like that show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It's like, hello, Dad. Let me remind you.
One of my favorite persons that I actually didn't photograph, but I was just friends with, was the artist formerly known as Prince. I was friends with Prince before he died. Never photographed him. We were just like, it was like in a friend setting. But he's one of the nicest guys. Like you would never you would never imagine in a million years what he's like in real life. Shy, just quiet. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Not even joking. Like it's crazy. I mean, it's the people that you see on TV and everything. Most of the time, what you see is totally different from what they are in real life. That's why I grew up like having posters of some people on my walls as a kid and everything, and then later on I get to meet them. I'm like, wow, you know, this guy used to love this guy, and he's like a total jerk. But you never know. It's like people are people.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you meet Prince? Where did, how, what?
Oh my goodness, it's a long story, but it's crazy. I was part of like Prince is like he's a spiritual man. I was part of his group of artists that all were like in the same Bible study, and we studied the Bible together. So
That's
he was
awesome.
like very Prince was very very spiritual person, and one of his friends, Larry Graham, who was like a father to him, was trying to help him, and Larry Graham basically got all these artists together that studied the Bible, and it was just it was a very interesting time in my life because I was studying the Bible and I still do, but studying the Bible and then talking to Prince about the Bible and helping him out with that.
And doesn't your book correlate kind
Yes,
of?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, okay, like a lot of people will be like totally freaked out about it. But the title of the book is How Biblical Principles Paved the Way to the American Presidency. So it's interesting because a lot of people might not think that Trump is a spiritual guy, but I seen it firsthand. I mean, I was the one I could spend 3 or 4 hours with Trump and never say a word to him because I'm his photographer. I'm not his buddy per se. I'm his worker. So I got a chance to work with chance to see how he reacts to other people and just get a chance to watch him. I was a fly on the wall. I mean, I could spend 2 hours with him and not say anything but like, oh, Mr. Trump, could you just move over this way? Okay, perfect. But I'm just watching the guy. And so I put two and two together about all the stuff he was doing and how it correlated to his game plan, which was basically he was applying Bible principles, and no one knew it. I mean, that's what the guy was doing.
Can you
It's
give me an
interesting.
example?
Yeah, there's a example in the Bible of a man named Absalom. He was King David's son, and Absalom was a big shot, so he was trying to be king, but everyone knew he was, the king's son. And so when people met Absalom, people like almost bowing down because he was the king's son. And then Absalom would be like, no, 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 don't bow down. I'm just like you, just a normal person like you. And then he made people feel comfortable. I was there with Trump, and talk about Victory Junction. Richard Petty is a big supporter of Trump, so he was there at an event. We're all sitting there backstage, me, um, Richard Petty. We're all back there. Everyone's enamored because Richard Petty, you can't miss the king. Trump walks into the room, and he's not like me, which I would beeline to Richard Petty because he's like the most famous person in the room. Trump walks into the room and totally ignores the most famous person in the room, and Trump goes past them to all these police officers, first responders, men in uniform, and those were the most important person in the room, and he went there and shook all their hands and then circled around to who we would consider the most important person in the room, the celebrity. Trump never did that. Whether he did it on purpose, calculated, or he was really like that, I think he was really like that, but either way, the guy's a genius because he walks into the room and made all those first responders feel so important, and that's what Absalom did. And it's stories like that which I match up with the president.
Okay, and that's all in your book?
It's all in the book. Check it out.
All right. So where can I buy your book?
Okay, you can buy it by going to geneho.com and then clicking on my website there that goes to Trumpography. You can buy it there. You can buy it at Amazon. You can buy it at the stores. You can order it. But check it out for sure.
Okay.
So, Trumpography.
Awesome. I'm so excited. I'm going to have to check that out. Tell everyone your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your everything one more time.
Definitely geneho.com, so GENEHO.com. On Facebook, Geneho Photo, GENEHO Photo. Yeah.
PHOTO.
Yeah, you got it. So check it out. You can just find me. You'll find me there.
Sweet. Well, this has been an awesome story about the brand of you. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much for coming. It has been so much fun getting to know you and hearing your whole story, and it's amazing, and you are the coolest brand that I have met so far.
Thank you.
Don't tell anybody else that. And I look forward to seeing all of you next week for our next special guest.